Do we have a $1 trillion question that we need to take a close look at? Today, we have the privilege of being joined by the world famous coin shop Chris. We're going to talk about what went on in the precious metals markets, but more importantly, we're going to dive a little deeper and dig into a couple of these big $1 trillion stories and see what that means for the future of the precious metals. Chris, welcome back to Ron's Basement.
It's good. It's good to be back, Ron. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. It was kind of a crazy week. You holding up okay?
Yeah, it's been a crazy week at the shop too. But yeah, things are going good.
What are you
So-called good?
What are you seeing on the retail level with gold and silver buying? Any general observations you can share with us?
I'm seeing a lot of selling right now. It seems to be, Ron, about half and half selling, half buying back. I think people are getting scared of the dip that we're seeing, and I think people need the money. I get mixed reviews. Some people need the money, some people want out of it. And I think the people who want out of it, who bought higher, are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people are just so impatient. They think it's like a stock that's gonna go flying through the roof, like a GameStop stock that went flying through the roof. And people are just not patient enough. I know we keep saying, be patient, be patient. And some people have been patient for 15, 20 years with this run.
Right.
But it is just not, if you don't need to sell, why are we selling back for paper? I mean,
yeah. Why do you want the paper? Because we could be near the end of the system. As you know, I had a conversation, an interview with Lynette Zhang earlier in the week, and she said, people are confused right now and everything seems so crazy, maybe because we're near the end. And, you know, when I think about these people coming into your shop and selling their silver and gold, but they're not really selling it, they're converting it back into worthless paper. It begs the question, could some of them, let's dive into the first $1 trillion questions. Could some of them just need the money? Because we got some new data out just today that said that credit card debt is now again at an all-time high. It has surpassed $1 trillion. Do you think maybe that could be the case, Chris?
well, I can't answer a $1 trillion questions without $1 trillion, Ron. So if you want to PayPal me that, that's just fine. But no,
I
answer,
PayPal'd you $1 trillion last week. Come on, man.
that was, to remember, that was in unicorn fat. That came up a bunch of zeros.
That's so you wouldn't divulge the truth about me. Anyway, go ahead. I apologize.
You're fine. You know, we're at 1.3 plus $1 trillion in credit card debt. It's insane, Ron. I mean, it's insane. People are living off credit cards, and when they're done with it, when they used up the balance, where are they going to go next, Ron? Where? People are going to be living in a cardboard box. That's what's going to happen. The bank's going to come and take the house or the camper or the cars, if they're not done that already, and people are going to be living in cardboard boxes.
Yeah, this article I have here from Yahoo Finance says it's a record level of credit card debt and record high interest rates. And look, you know, this economy is teetering right now. We can't, you know, nobody has a crystal ball. We're not trying to scare anyone, but it feels like the economy is teetering. But if you add on top of the fact that Americans like don't have the money to buy groceries, to buy gas, they're putting it on their credit cards. And then on top of that, you add the fact that people haven't had to pay their student loans for a couple of years. Well, guess what? That's coming back on. And they're saying like, how can these Americans who can't even afford the basic necessities right now, a lot of people are going to be hit with a $300 or $400 a month student loan payment on top of that.
And that's about, and the average is about 5% of the people's income goes to student loans. So yes, that money's gonna get sucked out of the system quicker than crap, Ron. And that's
and I want to throw this in, then I'll keep my lips shut, I promise. And on top of that, we have data saying that only a small percentage of people now can afford a surprise $400 car repair bill. Like if they got hit with a bill out of the blue that they wouldn't have the money to cover like an emergency car repair or something along those lines.
No, and that's absolutely right. People live in paycheck to paycheck. And, not everybody tells us why they're selling. We kind of ask, but they're not obligated to tell us. Some do, Ron, but in the long run, people need money for everyday needs. They need the fiat currency just to survive. And like I've said already in this interview, just people are burnt out because the price ain't not moving. With people thinking it's going to go to $600 overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. It's just not going to do it.
Yeah,
And
it's going to take.
Why? It just tees me off, Ron, when people come in, don't really need to sell, and going into pay. But then what are they going to put that paper into? If you got food, you got the house over your house is paid off for, you got no credit card debt. Why in the heck are people selling back? I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, to make matters even worse, since we're on the subject of $1 trillion, we also heard this week from the Treasury Department. Our good friend Janet Yellen told us that it has increased its third quarter borrowing estimate to over $1 trillion, significantly higher than its prior estimate, which was only $700 billion. I mean, where is all this headed? It just feels like we're in a vicious cycle, if that makes sense.
It's going to be the taxpayers and your kids, Ron, your grandkids, they're all going to pay for it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
We are, there's more and more jobs coming online, but they're not for people jobs, they're robot jobs. We go back to this story, every time you buy something off online, it gets tracked. If you buy something off of Amazon, you're tracked exactly what you buy. If you have the Walmart Plus program, you're tracked on every single thing you buy. There's a history on it. And it's just the system coming into play where everybody will be tracked eventually. When this CDBC comes out, Ron, it's not going to be good. It's just not going to be good.
It's an interesting world we're living in. I still come back to silver and gold as being, money for thousands of years, and I'm confident they will maintain their value. Can I talk more gloom and doom about the economy? Just a few more points, Chris. Are you okay with that?
Just one more thing before you get into that. I would like to thank everybody for joining us today. Like to subscribe, and Ron, you and Lynette Zane knocked it out of the park.
Yeah,
she's very good interview.
She's a superwoman, and it was a real privilege to get to have her join me here in the basement. I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you thanking all of our viewers who are joining us right now, because everybody belongs here in the basement, right? We're basement dwellers together. Let's talk about one more point on the economy. We get all this data from the government, right? The Bureau of Labor and Statistics and other these Washington, based parts of our government that put together data. But what I say is, let's look at the real data. And I want to dig in really quickly. I find it fascinating that the actual data we're getting from the Trucking Industry Association, not the government, this is the independent association for the trucking companies, says that freight volume this year, right now, is 10% lower than it was a year ago. What is that telling us?
Well, it's called people don't have the fiat currency to get out and buy all that crap we used to buy in. And people are trying to repair stuff their own and trying to do the cheapest way possible just to make it through for 6 to 12 more months. And hopefully things turn around. But Ron, 6 to 12 months from now, I think things will be a lot worse than we are now. And that's just my opinion, Ron. But I really hope it don't get to that point. But we got no way out. We can't keep raising interest rates. Yellen is mad because they cut our rating down to AA plus, and the banks are changing their views. I mean, I don't know how deep you want to go with this, but
well, here I'll go one deeper. I got another point for you. I found this very interesting. The jobs data came out today. It was actually lower than expected, which is shocking because those are already fudged numbers. But let me read this paragraph to you, Chris. I think this sums it up perfectly. It says, putting it all together, if one believes the headlines provided by our Bureau of Labor and Statistics, in July, the US added 187,000 jobs, and the number of employed workers rose by 268,000. However, taking a closer look at the composition, we find that in July, the number of well-paid full-time workers collapsed by nearly 585,000 jobs. That was offset by a 972,000 surge in part-time workers. As for the balance, it was the 118,000 people who discovered last month that to keep up with the economic miracle that is Bidenomics, they need to work at least one more job. What do you think?
That's what we were talking about a few months ago, Ron. We said, when Costco was laying off people, and Costco's great company to work for, I hear. They pay well, but when you get laid off and you're averaging 17, 18 bucks an hour, plus benefits, people are not going to find that job paying that well, if not even more money. I mean, some Costco jobs are 23 plus in hour. And then when you go apply for another job, it's part-time. And guess what? You need another job. And guess what? They count that as 2 jobs. And the person had
Right.
one damn job, Ron, and they're counting it as 2.
Right.
I mean,
They don't give the people 2 standard deductions on their tax return, though. They only get their 1 standard deduction, even though they have 2 jobs.
Yeah, and that's why these numbers are fudged.
Yeah.
The government's trying to make it look good. Well, I would like to see what's going to be on at the end of August here with Yellow Trucking, and they deliver to Walmart, they deliver to Amazon. Where's all that merchandise going to come from? Who's going to deliver that now to the warehouses?
Well, there's not as much volume, right? There might be the same dollar amount of activity going on, but there's not as much volume. Let's end it with this. The GDP numbers that came out, right? 2.4%. I heard somebody very smart bring up a great point. And that is that if our government, and I forget the number, but I think has like a $1.4 trillion deficit right now. Our government's spending $1.4 trillion more per year than it's bringing in tax revenue. If that's all they can squeeze out of this economy is 2.4% growth, things aren't looking good. So let's pull it all together here, Chris, because we are gold and silver enthusiasts, and the people that are listening to us are gold and silver enthusiasts. I guess my final thought would be things look really dicey out there, right? Whether you look at the government, monetary, fiscal situation, the economy, the mood of the nation, no matter how you slice it or dice it, things look very difficult. But no matter how you adjust the mirrors, or how much smoke you pump in, smoke and mirrors, silver and gold will always hold their value. What's your final thought?
Well, my thought, like they say 2.4% growth, but there's a 10% reduction of people getting merchandise, products, whatever you want to call it. Well, okay, you add the 4%, add the 10% back to it. It's called inflation, Ron. They're eating your money. The government is stealing your money through inflation. It's a tax. It's a hidden tax. And when people start realizing that, and most of your viewers understand that as a hidden tax, but when the American people start waking up and realizing it's a hidden tax, I don't know what's going to happen then. I just don't.
Yeah, things could get very difficult. We feel like we're balancing on the precipice right now. Chris, thank you as always for joining us in the basement. On behalf of everyone who's with us right now, thank you. And can we count on seeing you again sometime here in the near future?
Only if you send me $1 trillion PayPal, yeah. Yeah, of course
I'll
I will do that.
I'll send you a box of your favorite food, ding dongs.
Oh, we're not bringing that up. Yes, and we know you like to eat those, Ron. But like I said with your last video, you are what you eat. So I guess I'm a ding dong too. So that's fine.
You need to cut back from 12 ding dongs a day to 8 ding dongs a day. We'll see you soon, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Bye-bye.